Hey guys, back for part two. We're going to go through the pathway of blood. So there's some different structures that we're going to go through. You absolutely need to know the pathway of blood for your upcoming assessment. Okay, so the first technically two structures. If you have a piece of paper and you want to write this down, or you've got a Google Doc, you can go ahead and type this up. There's 12 or 14 different structures that you're going to have to know the order in which the blood is going to interact with these structures. So the very first, technically first structure is Hey guys, welcome back for part two. We're going to go through the pathway of blood. This is certainly very important, so I recommend that you either write these steps down. So you could write pathway of blood and then number 1 through 14. That'll give you all the structures in the correct order. So structure number 1 technically is two structures at one time. They are called the superior and inferior vena cavas. So here's the superior vena cava. It's going to drain your head and neck and the upper regions of your thorax, and it's going to enter right here. Okay. Next, at the same time, you're going to have the inferior vena cava. So all the deoxygenated blood, the really poor, oxygen poor blood, is going to be drained from the rest of your body, from your legs and your hips and your abdomen. So it's going to bring blood through this little hole, and all this blood is going to end up in the right atrium. So structure number 1 should be the superior and inferior vena cavas. Structure number 2 will be this very first chamber. Okay, this first chamber is called the right atrium. Okay, so this is structure number 2. The right atrium is going to pump blood from here to the next chamber, which is the ventricle, but it has to do so first to pass through this valve called the tricuspid valve. Now, the reason why it's called the tricuspid valve, think about the prefix tri. It means 3. You've got 1, 2, 3 muscles that are pulling this valve open. So number 3 is the tricuspid valve. Number 3, tricuspid valve. And then it will enter into the right ventricle. So that will be structure number 4. Okay, now the whole reason why blood is even coming to the heart is because it's oxygen poor. Where do you get oxygen in the body? The lungs. So we have to pump this blood next door to the lungs. The word that means lungs is pulmonary. So every time you see the word pulmonary, you should automatically think lungs. So once it gets in, the blood gets into this ventricle, it's going to be pumped through this valve called the pulmonary valve. Okay, I'm not going to ask you this section, right, that part. So this is going to be structure number 5, the pulmonary valve. Okay, so now we've gone through here, and now we're going into this vessel called the pulmonary artery. Arteries always go away from the heart. Veins always come to the heart. So it's named for its destination, which is the the pulmonary artery. You don't need to know left or right, just know pulmonary arteries. So that would be structure number 6. Technically, you could say structure number 7 would be the lungs, because that's where we're going to be picking up the oxygen. So now that we've picked up this gas, the color of the blood turns from a dark maroon into a bright, rich red. It's going to be returned to the heart through the pulmonary veins. So that's going to be number 8, the pulmonary veins. So it's going to re-enter the heart right here. And now structure number 9, we're right here in this chamber called the left atrium. So that's number 9. Blood is going to pass through this structure This is another valve, but it is called the bicuspid valve because it has two muscles that pull the valve open. Okay, so that's going to be structure number 10. Okay, now we're in the last and final chamber of the heart. This is the left ventricle. This is the most muscular part of the heart because it has to pump blood to such a far area. So it has to go the most distance to the entire body. So that's why you notice that the walls of the ventricle on the left side is way thicker on the right. Okay, finally it's going to pass through this structure right here. This is called the aortic valve. So that's going to be structure number 12. It's going to kind of go underneath this vessel and enter. This is the largest blood vessel in the entire body. This is called the aorta. Okay, so this is going to be number 13. And then finally, it's going to send the blood out to the entire body. So number 14 would be the body. All right, hopefully that was helpful.